Yeah, hello everyone. We would like to welcome you. We welcome you in the webinar with Aarhus University. My name is Arthur. I'm from Casto. That's my colleague Melis. We will be monitoring that webinar, and we're happy that we have three nice people from Aarhus University. They will introduce themselves in a minute, but in the beginning, I would like to tell you a little bit more how to use webinar platform to make sure that you know how to ask questions and how to ask questions. Nellis, can you tell quickly how to do that?
Yeah, sure. So the main functions that you will find in this webinar platform. So first of all, we would like to ask everyone if you can see on the left side, there is an icon with a hand. So if you will press that hand, we will see and we will notice that. And that would mean that you are hearing us, that you can see us properly. And as well, we have two more options, two more functions that you can use during webinar. So first one, so you can openly ask, give questions in this chat, and also you can find the question mark. So if you press the question mark icon, you will be able to see and send us questions individually. Want to push the icon of the question sign and just send your questions, and at the end of the webinar, we will answer all your questions.
Yeah, that's right. And now I would like to introduce you Aarhus University representatives. We have Steen Weissner, Rian, and the student who is studying at Aarhus University at the moment. So please, can you please introduce yourself for the students so that they know?
Yes, for sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Steen Weissner, and I'm the International Director for the Faculty of Arts here at the university. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Auxe, and I'm a master's student of Human Security, also in the Faculty of Arts.
And hello, my name is Rainer Jasmine, and I'm working for the business school, Aarhus BSS, and I will, of course, talk more about the programs from the business school. Nice meeting you.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, great. I just want to remind you that Aarhus University are one in the top of 100 best universities in the world. They're offering great master studies. So during this webinar, we will talk about university, about master studies they're offering, and what possibilities it offers to you, how to grow, how to reach your goals, and how to move forward and push your career to go up. So how do you think, guys, should we start with a presentation?
Just start with the agenda slide.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll share the screen with you right now. And yeah, please, you now you can see. Now you can see agenda slide.
Yeah. I will. The agenda here for this afternoon is first some information about the university itself. Then some information about what is it like to live in Denmark and to live in Aarhus. First, we give you some facts about this, and then we will have some comments from Auxe, who is actually doing this at the moment. Then we have some information about the various programs that we offer at the university, study information, and again we will ask Auxe to share with you her personal experiences of being a student here in the university. What is it like seen from the student perspective? We're going to at the end share with you the admission requirements for our university and the various programs, as well as the deadlines and other important information. And finally, we will take questions.
And please, even though we have questions at the very end of the presentation, please do send in your questions, and then we will answer them throughout the presentation. We will try to do it a bit more interactive, so I hope you will ask some questions during the presentation. Thank you.
Yes, I agree. It's very boring to just sit here and have no questions and tell you about the university. So please share this with us.
Okay, very good. So we can agree that if somebody have questions, we ask them during the presentation.
Perfect.
Is it right?
Great.
Okay.
Let's do this way.
Yeah. So just a small technical question. When people ask the question, can we also see it in the right-hand side of the screen, or is it only you, Arthur, who can see it?
No, it's only us who can see that.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So feel free to interrupt us. So anyway, yeah, welcome to Aarhus University. We are a relatively young university, about 90 years old. We are a comprehensive university, and by this we mean that we cover all academic areas, from the health sciences to the science and technologies, to the business and social sciences, and to the arts, humanities, and education. In terms of numbers, we are a relatively large university with 42,000 students. 12% of our students are international students in the normal student body with bachelor and master students. We have a slightly higher ratio, that is 28% of our PhD students are international. So we like to think of ourselves as a very international university, and we have very many nationalities on campus. We normally say more than 120 different nationalities. Yeah. The reasons to choose Aarhus universities are many, and we here list some of them. As Arthur mentioned before, we are a top 100 university, and what does top 100 mean? Well, it basically means that we are ranked in the major ranking lists in the 100 best universities around the world. You can look at Times Higher Education ranking, you can look at the QS ranking, you can look at the Leiden ranking, or the Shanghai World University rankings. We are listed in the top 100 every year. You can also see more information on our website on this. We have a strong research base in our university teaching. That means that all of our teachers are also researchers. So they will come from their research and go to the classroom and teach in the area based on their research. In the university, we have more than 60 full programs taught in English. We like to think that our students are satisfied. This is when we ask them that they are satisfied with being here as international students. We have a career service for students to look for jobs after graduation and also during studying on student jobs, etc. And we have a job bank, and our career service will help students look for work in Denmark after graduation. We also say that Denmark is a very safe and secure country to live in. I think we are probably not much more safe and secure to live in than Lithuania or Poland, but we are a relatively small environment where many things work as we like them to work, and so there's also, of course, there's personal safety, but there's also food safety, and yeah, which is high in our country. We say that Aarhus is a top choice for students as a student city, and for many years in a row we have been voted the #1 student city in Denmark. And obviously, seen from a financial perspective, there is no tuition fee to study in Denmark at Aarhus University for EU students. So that's another plus for you. Yeah. We have put in this small map. We think that everybody knows where Denmark is, but maybe you don't know precisely where Aarhus is, so we put it here on the map. We are sort of in the middle of Denmark. As you remember, we are a small country, so everything is close by. We are about 3 hours from Copenhagen. We are about 3 hours from Hamburg. You can also go to the north of Denmark for a couple of hours, and then you will have wet feet standing in the ocean. So a relatively small country where we are in the middle. So what is it like to actually live in Denmark? Well, we like to say that we are the gateway between Scandinavia and the rest of Europe. So that means that coming from Europe and going into Scandinavia, you are passing through Denmark. Some of the characteristics of Denmark is that as I said before, we are safe, we are secure, but we're also a very equal country. Also, maybe you can say something about this later, but it is something that we feel whenever we visit other countries. We can see that there are much inequality, but we are a relatively equal country where everybody has access to health services at an equal level, everybody has access to housing at a relatively equal level, and everybody's paying high taxes at an equal level, but this also gives us access to free education and as I mentioned before, healthcare and other services. For many times in a row as well, we have been voting the happiest people in the world. Scientists disagree on why we are so happy when the taxes are so high and the weather is so gray. But anyway, some of the answers is that we are an equal country and things are safe and secure, and they're very transparent. We have very little corruption in Denmark, and that also means that if you want to obtain something, you can do it according to norms. You don't have to second guess what you have to do in order to reach a goal. Finally, everybody speaks English, so it's easy to live and start living as international students here, because small children and old women, everybody will speak English to you in the shops, in the university, and yeah, it's basically easy to get around. Yeah. Just some pictures from the city. We're close to the water, we're close to the forests. Yeah. Maybe we should jump to the next one. No, just you will know the 4 seasons as well. A little more information about Aarhus. Yeah, we, as I said before, we're close to the water, we're close to the forests, within a short bike ride. Everybody's riding bicycles here in Denmark. International students learn that as well when they arrive here. We have bike lanes. It's easy to get around. Aarhus is it's the second largest city in Denmark, but even by that standard, we're not very big. We have about 220,000 inhabitants in the city, but we are a very well-educated city, because so many people either work or study in the university or work in sectors that are connected to the university. So 20% of all the inhabitants in the city are university students. Maybe another 5% work in the university. So there is a large affiliation with education and the city. Yeah, I don't know, Aukse, if this is the time where you can say something about what is it like to be a student.
Yeah, sure.
A new student coming to Denmark and coming to Aarhus.
Well, it's actually almost, I think, 2 years since I moved here, probably a bit more than 1.5. And I remember that coming to Aarhus as a new student, even though it wasn't my first country where I lived abroad, I still felt very overwhelmed, because it's just such a huge mass of students and they are everywhere and you are kind of in the middle of it. And I think it's kind of a nice part, because you're never really alone, and as a new student you are welcomed with so many programs and events and groups and clubs and all sorts of things. And I think like a lot of things what we just talked about, it's really true. Like you can really see how, you know, that social security network is taking place, and how people who are in need, they're being taken care of. So I found it really different, for instance, from Lithuania. So that was a nice thing. And yeah, it's a nice feeling to feel safe when you're walking down the street in the evenings and stuff like that. And I really love the nature around here, especially when it becomes a bit warmer. And I mean, like, for instance, probably the thing that students are complaining the most is the weather. But I don't mean, like, we don't have to pretend that Lithuania or Poland is a tropical country, so it's not such a huge difference for us. But I mean, it still gets to you, that lack of sunshine. So I do advise everybody who comes to live in Denmark to take supplement D, just for that lack of sunshine. But you kind of get to enjoy other things as well. So sometimes studying inside in some facilities, or meeting with friends and stuff like that. Well, other things, I think that, I don't know, are you going to talk about culture a little bit more? Or?
Please go ahead.
Let's go ahead.
Yeah, so I think one of the things what really surprised me when I came to Denmark is that I kind of had this assumption that I will have zero cultural shock because it's just like any European country. And let me just say that that's not true. And I think that that's also a kind of impression a lot of students are having, that they didn't expect that Danish is actually a very distinct culture. And it actually is. There's some getting used to do, you know. And I think that you have to keep in mind, especially before moving to Denmark, that you will be a person who will have to show initiative. And I think it's initiative a lot in building your social network and creating your life here. So it's not really, sometimes you have those countries with very warm and friendly cultures where you just get sucked in, you know, automatically, no matter what you do. But in Denmark, you actually have to go up to people and introduce yourself and make some friends and join some clubs and like just really kind of take active participation in that. And that's something you have to kind of take your responsibility from the beginning if you want to be happy here.
I think that is true, and I think it also has to do with how you work or how you live in society and how you live as a student. I mean, Denmark has a lot of services, but you have to ask for it. You have to find out it's there, and then you have to ask for it. And many people are willing to help you, but you have to ask for help first. That's my feeling about Danish society, at least. I don't know if you agree.
Yes, I do agree, and I mean, like, I'm talking now about Danish culture, but I actually don't know how much I experience it in daily life because I'm surrounded by such an international group of people all the time. I don't know, is it because internationals tend to stick together, or is it just because Aarhus is quite an international city, and not only because of the students, but because of many people who come to work here and international families who live here and so on.
Yeah, and I have one question. Person asking, is it difficult to make friends with Danish people?
Is it what?
Is it difficult
Is
to
it
meet
difficult to
Danish
make
people?
friendship with Danish people?
Is it difficult to make friendship with Danish people?
Yeah, maybe you should answer.
Well, I mean, what they're gonna tell you a lot when you come to Denmark, they're gonna give you workshops and prepare you for that. That Danish people might look unfriendly from the outside, but it's not true. It's just that they are really private and they kind of really respect their private life. So again, it's a lot about that initiative, you know, that sometimes you have to come up to your classmate or colleague and invite him for coffee or dinner. And usually he will not say no, but I doubt that he will make that step himself. So as I said, you kind of have to take an active part in there. So usually they are really, they want to welcome you, but you kind of have to start the conversation.
I think if you want to make a comparison, that unlike the Americans, for instance, that are very extrovert, they are almost, you know, attacking people with the first time they meet them. I think Danish people tend to just, you know, just lay back and then await the initiative that you are actually talking about. I think this is a good point of view from you, that international in general should take the initiative in order to make friends with the Danish people. My parents are from the Philippines, and of course, obviously, sometimes people before they meet me, they will expect me to be a foreigner, but I am Danish. I was brought up here in Denmark, so I speak Danish, of course, and I am a Dane. But at first, they will always ask me, "Well, where are you from?" And then, of course, whenever I'm taking the initiatives, then they will, of course, just be more friendly and then meet you as a Dane.
But I think we hear from international students that it takes some work. Especially and maybe it's easy enough in classes and in the university, but then when classes are over, all the Danish people go home, and the international students say, where did they go? Why are we not together anymore? And so so entering some social clubs as well is also a good thing.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the first advices I also got. That if you want to make Danish friends, the best place to do it is just to join a club or a group or a hobby, whatever you like to do. Is it like wall climbing or yoga or some sports? That's the best place to make some Danish friends.
But also in general, it's just good to use the network that you might have in order to either find a good place to live or either to meet new friends, or of course also try to get a student job. But we will talk about this later.
Yeah, good. And one more question about the Danish. Is it difficult to learn Danish language? How if you learn language, how do you find it difficult? Is it not difficult?
Well, I think it depends, of course, how are you with languages. Like I don't speak Danish because I didn't have time to attend classes because I'm working and studying. But I saw a lot of my classmates take them. So for instance, if you already know German language or Dutch, it can be very easy for you. But if you're not used to that type of language, it might be quite challenging. But the good news is that, you know, like all the facilities are there for you. So you do have free language courses and you can attend them. And if you want to, I think you can do it.
Yeah, but we see some students who do not learn the language, and then we see other students who pick it up really easily and really quickly. After 6 months, they manage quite well. But I think so on an international scale, it's probably not that easy.
It's difficult.
Yeah.
But as Oxa said, it's free. Of course, it's optional to attend Danish classes. It will be at a language school, so it's going to be together with other international people. But it is possible for you guys to learn Danish if you make an effort, of course.
Yeah.
And I would just say, like, don't take example from me. And I mean, like, even if you don't plan on staying in Denmark after your studies, I still think it's a very good investment, because Scandinavian languages as a skill, it's a very good thing to have. So take advantage of it.
Good.
And the Danish language is the same as Swedish and Norwegian, basically. I mean, we can understand each other. I don't know if you have come from a third language or fourth language, if it would be the same. But if you speak one of the languages, by definition, then you understand the other ones as well. Yeah. Maybe it's not that easy. Or?
I don't know. I don't know if Norwegians would agree with you.
Let's move on to the next slide, please.
Yeah, there's more pictures.
Yeah, in general, Aarhus is a really beautiful city. Like, you have so much nature and so many cafes and like interesting buildings to visit, and like spend your time next to the water. Like, the sea is literally around you everywhere, so it's really nice.
Yeah, just to mention that Aarhus is the European Capital of Culture in 2017. A lot of things going on in the city that you will experience if you come here as a student in this year, a very exciting year. Some pictures from our campus. Our university is built of basically yellow bricks, and you will see them all over the university, millions and millions of yellow bricks. And we have a big university park where students get together. Yeah, just some pictures from there. Universities are always very proud when their researchers win Nobel Prizes, and Aarhus University is no exception. And so we here show our 2 Nobel Prize winners. We have one in chemistry and one in economics. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on to the structure and the degree programs. We're a research-based university, which means that basically all the professors and lecturers have done their own research or have done their own PhD. So in order for them to teach at the university, they need to have their own PhD or research. Other than that, we tend to focus on the analytical and theoretical part. Of course, because it's a research-based university, we'll focus a lot on theory, but at the same time, we will also use case studies. So we will use a lot of examples from the top businesses and companies that are here in Denmark and also on international level. and then try to put into the theory and use it along with the theory that they are teaching. The Scandinavian teaching style it's very, I think it's very open for discussion, but it's also very open for positive critical views, which means that you're actually encouraged whenever you come here. You're actually encouraged to question the professors or the lecturers, even though you're not used to this. This is the way we do it in Denmark. There's also a lot of group works. I don't know if you're used to this, either in Poland or in Lithuania, but we do a lot of group works, and of course within the group you're also very much encouraged to criticize and of course question the theories and the debates that you're going to have.
I actually have a funny story about that.
Yeah.
Because in my program we have a very international group, so we have people from Canada, from Ghana, from Kenya, like from Australia, like really all over the world.
How big is your group?
Well, it's about 20-30 people. So, and I remember like this thing that what we just talked about, that you're really welcome to question the professor. And like I remember our classmates from Ghana said that when we studied there, they were not allowed to disagree with the teacher.
Exactly.
So they were so happy to discover this in Denmark that during our first classes, every single lecture they would raise a hand and say, I disagree.
That's funny.
So we just really enjoyed that freedom that we can say that we disagree with the teacher.
Of course, if he has a good argument, then that's valid. Okay, moving on. As Sten mentioned, we have 60 degrees, almost 60 degrees, and actually, but only 3 of them offer English taught programs. So this is the arts and humanities. And I don't need to mention all of these, but you can find them on our webpage. Sten will answer some of the questions if you have any questions regarding the programs belonging to the arts and humanities. If you take the next slide, please. Now, I'm from Aarhus PSS, which is the School of Business and Social Sciences. We offer actually 3 programs at bachelor level, and then the rest are for the master programs. As you can see, our bachelor programs are of course 3 years, and our master programs are 2 years. And then the last slide, or next slide, yes, these are the programs belonging to science technology, and they only offer 2-year master programs in English. Our health, the Faculty of Health, does not offer any English taught programs.
Yeah. So outside of these, we have a number of programs taught in the local language, about the same amount, I would guess. Yeah. So
let's move on to the next. Yeah. Well, maybe you could focus more on the program that you are studying.
Sure. I was thinking maybe first to talk about how is it different to actually study in Denmark comparing to Lithuania. Basically, like I must say I really like studying here because the university and the facilities, they really make it allow you to enjoy that part of studying you like the most. So for instance, you have a lot of facilities which help you study, like public libraries, university libraries, really like nice study rooms where you can meet with groups. And for instance, in the state library where I study, like there are massage chairs for some break, and there's also like like if you wanna just play some computer games and not think about studying for half an hour. So it's a really nice environment, and kind of it encourages you to get out of your home and study with, surrounded by students. Another thing is that also from those facilities, but also the whole approach to studying is really student-centered. So whenever you need help, you can always approach your professor. I think it's really different because there's no strong hierarchy, so you can go up to your professor anytime and ask about some topic, or if you need help, or if you need extra explanation or some guidelines. And we usually, what I like the most is that you can have those really productive and honest conversations, because we don't really have this bureaucratic approach to you, but it's really like human-to-human connection. So I think it makes studying really enjoyable, and sometimes I feel like, when I'm studying for exams, it's not like I want to do good because I want to have a biggest grade, like, highest grade, but because I don't want to let my professors down, because they know me, and they have some expectations. And other thing, what we also mentioned, it's a lot of working groups, and that's something you have to understand. But from what I know, Denmark, like already in the middle school, we work a lot in groups, and that's throughout their entire education. It's really highlighted. So you learn through exchange and discussion and interaction with other students and the teachers. And for instance, like in my case, we had really international groups, so it was really nice because people had very, very different backgrounds. So you hear a lot of different points, and you learn more.
Also, perhaps you can elaborate. The 2-year master programs are divided into 4 semesters.
Yeah.
Perhaps you can talk a little bit about how they are structured.
Well, I don't know. As I said, I study human security. I don't know if it holds true to all master studies, but
Probably
basically
yours is a little different. But
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I can talk about my studies. So it's 2 years. It's 4 semesters. And the way human security studies are structured is that the first year you have different classes. And then in the second year, during the third semester, you do your fieldwork or your exchange or your internship, which you can do either here in Denmark, as I chose to do, or you can go abroad, basically in any country in the world. And usually your teacher will help you to find some contacts and get a spot there. And then the last semester, you write your thesis. So like, for instance, now I'm in my last semester and I don't have any classes. And I have, 1 semester to finish my master thesis.
And that's, in general, that's the structure of the 2-year master programs at the Aarhus University. The first 2 semesters or the first year will be structured, and you will have specific courses. And then on the 3rd semester, it's much more flexible. And then the 4th semester will be for the master thesis. So it's pretty much the same.
I think in your program, the majority of the students do field work in the 3rd semester,
Yes.
whereas in most of the other programs, students do study abroad in that semester. I mean, they apply for a position somewhere else in Europe or in Asia or in the US, or anywhere else.
Or internship.
Or internship, and then they do that in the 3rd semester, and then they return and write their master's thesis at the end.
Exactly. These are just some of the companies we've listed here that we are actually working with. Some of them we're working with during your program, but also, of course, after you graduate, you can apply for specific jobs at these companies as well. Let's go on to the next slide, please. Next slide. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, this is some general info, very important. The application deadline for all the programs are March 15. This is the same deadline each year, and we only have 1 intake per year. If you have any questions regarding your application, normally you can contact our admission, either the ma.admission@au.dk, or if it's bachelor ba.admission@au.dk. But at the moment, they are very busy in handling all the applications. So if you have any questions, they won't be able to answer you because they are actually handling all the applications. But during the fall, they are actually open for pre-screens and questions from September to December.
Well, they do answer questions.
They do
but
answer.
Just take a little longer these days because
course.
we're in the spring semester.
Yeah, actually, as Casto International's official representative of Aarhus University, you also could apply through Casto organization. We have our online application form, and we know everything about Aarhus University. And if you have any questions, you could ask us. And we have online platform that you need to fill Casto application form. You need to upload documents there. and then we will send everything to university. So you could easily apply through us without any problems.
Exactly. Sorry, good point. Good point, Arthur. And you also have your contact details. We just put in the contact details here for the three of us, for Rinja, for Auxe, and for myself. If you have any questions, go ahead or contact directly through you. That's fine.
Did you have any questions? No. Okay.
Well, one thing I could add, I think it's also important to mark this difference. That, for instance, you might find the exams here quite different than what I hear is from in Lithuania, for instance. For instance, if I would talk about my own program, when I came here, like the way I imagined exams, it's also what I did in my bachelor studies is, you know, where you come in a big room and you have 3 hours, you have a test, and you have to write answers or multiple choice or something like that. And I find out that most of, for instance, my exams were take-home exams.
Yes.
So it's something like where you have 2 weeks of time and you have a topic, or you can choose your own topic, and you have to write your academic paper at home using the course literature and stuff like that. And of course, at first I thought like, can it be any easier, you know? And I was really happy about it, but it's not as easy as it looks like. And
now you dream of the 3 hours where you just get it over and done with.
Yeah, it does take some heavy work, and not all exams are like that. I know in BSS is quite different. Sometimes you have group projects, you have presentations. Sometimes you have like really those kind of projects. I know in human security we used to do like, we did one project about how to save elephants in Kenya, and we had to kind of really use real-time data and everything, and it was really interesting. I don't know, would you say something about exams in BSS?
Well, it's basically more or less the same, the structure. Yeah. It's very different, take-home exams, but also sit-in exams. So oral exams or presentations. Can you just, this is just to show a timeline on what you can expect. Of course, the application deadline is March 15, but then between May and June, all applicants will receive one of the following letters. It should either be, hopefully, an admission, either conditional or a full admission letter, or a rejection. This is what to expect. And then the 1st of August, that's the deadline for documenting your English language test. Hopefully you know that we normally just accept 3 English tests. It's either IELTS or TOEFL or Cambridge Certificate Advanced. And then on the 30th of September, that's the final deadline for uploading documentation for your bachelor degree or other supplementary courses. But of course, the semester will start around 1st of September. So that's what to expect. And these are the important deadlines and dates.
And I would really advise for all the students who haven't studied in English before, even if your IELTS is 9 and you're really good at doing these tests, try to read as much as possible in English, because usually the reading load is quite heavy, and just to keep up with that can be a bit challenging in the beginning.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, so we have 10 minutes left and we have lots of questions. So probably I will just from the beginning, we will talk about them. And just I would like to remind for those who are going to have Skype conversation after the webinar, please stay online, please be on Skype, because after that, Aarhus University will contact you and agree just when you will have Skype talks. And now I just have first question. Do you have any master programs that are possible to study online?
No.
No. Short answer.
No, we are very much focused on having students here on campus and studying together with other international and national students. That's a key element in our teaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, another question we have: is it difficult to find part-time job during studies, and how much money approximately needed to living?
Yeah, in general, we say on average that a student needs to have between 700 or 800 euros per month That's the general or average amount that we normally say. But regarding the student jobs, we've actually experienced that some students will have very difficulties with finding a student job and won't be able to find a student job until after a year. But luckily, we also have students that have found jobs after 2 weeks. So I think it depends very much on your personal skills, your experience, and again, the network. And if you're really outgoing and use your network, I think it would be easier for you to find a student job. But depending on your experience and network skills.
I think those are very valid points, and even if you are planning to financially sustain yourself with a job, you should expect that it might take a few months. And yeah, like using your personal networks, it's a very good approach to do so.
And how about the 800, 700, 800 euros? Is that okay?
I think it's quite good. Like usually the way it works is that you get a student job for approximately 10 hours a week, which is a pretty good amount to, you know, kind of combine with your studies. And then you can also get a grant from the government to support you. And usually that covers your living expenses pretty easily.
Yeah, and actually another question we have about accommodation. Aukse, is it difficult to find accommodation in Aarhus? And how much accommodation costs approximately per month?
It is very difficult to find accommodation. I'm not gonna lie. And I would encourage you to start as early as like half a year before. And there are probably the best shot you get to actually finding a place. It's through student housing service. So it's also an organization which helps students to find an accommodation, and you can live there until while you have a student status. And how it works, you basically apply for a number of accommodation you like, and then they contact you when it's free. And if you are on top of a list, you can get it. About the price, it really depends, because I mean, a lot of students, we just rent a room, which is kind of the most affordable solution right there. But if you rent an apartment, I don't know, what would it be in euros actually?
400, 500, 600 euros, depending on.
Yeah, something like that.
I think many students or many people who haven't been to Denmark yet will, or who have only been here as tourists, they will know that it's a high-cost country, and it is expensive if you come here as a tourist and you go to a restaurant. Because we have high wages, then everything that people will have to handle will be expensive. But living here as a student is different. Buying food in a supermarket is probably not so expensive. But buying food in a restaurant where people have to prepare it for you, that is expensive. So that's sort of the difference. So if you've been here before as tourists, that would be one set of prices. But living as a student, knowing your way around where to find less expensive things is a different.
Yeah.
The salary for a student job, I would say, will probably be from between 10 and 15 euros per hour. Wouldn't you say that's quite accurate?
Around 100 kronas.
Around 100 kronas, which is between 15 euros, around approximately 15 euros an hour. So it is pretty high wages, but also, of course, it's more expensive here than it would be in your countries.
Another question we have about the work. If you are not native speaker of Danish language, so is it difficult to find a job after the finished studies and you decide to stay in Denmark, to live and work, and you can speak on the English language? Is it possible to stay and work and find a work there, or you must learn Danish language?
It is possible to stay in Denmark after graduation. The first 6 months you're granted in order for you to try to find a job. And of course, whether or not you speak Danish, if you do speak a little bit Danish, then this will be an advantage for you. If you don't, we also have a lot of international companies that are situated here, or Danish companies that are having an international approach. So it is possible to find a job after graduation, but of course it will always be an advantage if you know the Danish language.
I also know that also from other people that even if your job doesn't require Danish, they would really prefer you to be able at least to make a small conversation in Danish. Because I think Danish are really proud of their language, right? And they,
but also
they like seeing people
exactly,
try.
exactly. And even though English is the company language, still in the breaks and at the lunch breaks, everybody would speak Danish. So I think that would be a good idea to learn Danish or some.
Yeah, if you plan to stay.
Yeah.
Okay, we have one more question. One person is asking, is it possible to go to Denmark together with his wife? He wants to study master degree and want to bring his wife together and live with her in the dorm. And he's asking, is it possible to do so? Is it possible to take wife and live together?
I mean, as an EU student, you are allowed to move to another EU country and live. So that's definitely possible. There are also student apartments and other apartments to find. Obviously, it's easier to find a room for one person, but I mean, sure, it's possible.
I can say that when I moved to my student apartment with my husband, he wasn't student, and that was no problem.
Okay.
And I think it really depends on your situation. Like, is your wife, is she planning to work here or not? Because if she's not, it might be a bit tricky to get the residence permit. You might have to be required to have a certain amount of savings in order to do so. But I think you can read about it online.
Yeah, but technically there's no
problem. And we also, our advice is also to try to look for accommodation or housing on the private market. So if you know you're applying for a university and you know that you want to study here, our advice is also to look up different Facebook groups. We know that they exist, and also just look up different possibilities at the private market.
Yeah.
Okay, we have another question. It's already connected to the studies. Is it difficult to be accepted to Aarhus University, and what are the most important things where your admission office looks? Is it motivation letter? Is it SATS credits? Is it bachelor degree students have previously? What is the most important things to get?
I think I can start and then you can elaborate on your own situation. But I think the most important requirement is the academic one. So if you are looking for a master program, you need to have, of course, all the relevant documents from your bachelor degree, your transcript, your course descriptions. Those are the most relevant documents. And of course, in order to get in order to qualify for the program, you need to meet the requirements. It's very individual. Each program has specific requirements. Some of them don't have any specific requirements. So it's very much depending on the program.
I think it's a very good point that some programs you have really huge groups, so I think it's more academic, and of course motivation always matters. But for instance, in my program in human security, it's as I said, it's around 25 people, and they said that when they chose us, we were really focusing on our international profile. So it was very diverse, like a lot of, like, there were journalists, there were people, studying various backgrounds, there were, cooks, and there were people working in the municipality, business, like all over the place. So it really was like, like sometimes you apply to university and you think that, okay, my CV doesn't matter because I just did small student jobs or something like that. And I think it's not true. I think it can tell a lot about you and it can help you out.
For sure, but I also want to stress the fact that it is your academic background, which is the most important, and your English test. Yes. And then the other things come, but they do not count as much, obviously, if you don't meet the basic requirements. So that is very important. For many programs, the majority of the programs, motivational essays are not asked for. You can read under each different program, and because the motivation is, if you apply, we assume that you want to study, and that's all we want to know. So for the majority of the programs, basically your bachelor's background and your English test.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, I also like to tell that if you want to see what requirements have specific program, you can go to Casto website, you find Aarhus University, and there you find all programs that is offering in Aarhus University, and there you could see what requirements is for bachelor studies, for master studies, and the requirements for particular country. If you're from Lithuania, you go to Casto LT, from Poland, you go to Casto.pl, and there you can find what requirements each program have.
Exactly. And also there will be a slight difference between the requirements for business programs and social sciences if you compare it to the arts and humanities. So again, always look up the specific program and find the specific requirements.
Yeah, okay, so we have the last and final question because we don't have much time left. So, and this is question for Christian. Do you plan to stay in Denmark after your studies, and why?
For me?
Yeah.
Well, I do plan to stay, basically mostly for family reasons, but I also see it as an opportunity for me to explore kind of what I want to do in my career. So the social network in Denmark, it kind of gives you that flexibility that you can take some time and just think where you could do best. So my plans for after graduating is actually try either to start something on my own or try to find a job in an international company. And I can also add that, for instance, if you're interested in business, Aarhus is a really nice scene for startups. There are a lot of events, there are a lot of entrepreneurship, workshops and business-minded people. And I think it's really kind of in that feeling of a city.
I can just add that if you want to start up your own company after graduation, we actually have a 2-year establishment card that you can apply for, which means that you will automatically have, if you of course get the establishment card, you will get 2 years where you can stay after graduation because of this startup.
Okay, great. So thank you for answering the question. Once again, I would like to thank you for conversation after this webinar. Please stay online. Aarhus University will contact you and speak with you. And others, thank you for participation. And if you have any questions about Aarhus University, Casto team always looking for your questions. We will help you to apply, help you with application form. And to remind, the deadline is 15th of March. We have a little bit early deadline, 10th of March, in order to have enough time to check your application form documents and then send to Aarhus University. So if you're interested, please apply this year and you'll receive information if you're admitted or not in just a few months after you send application form.
Yeah.
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 Okay, so thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye and
Bye.
bye.